Fans, welcome to Sports Chat here at Jason's Video near Papa John's. Pretty good week in sports this week. Had some exciting spring football action. The Pal Panthers wrapped up their spring practice, taking on the Cougars in a scrimmage.
Yeah, got to see a lot of the potential new quarterback candidates, and Josh Lay and Zach Rutherford especially. Those two to me look like they've separated themselves as far as how they're going to contend for the starting job. Lay, he's a dual threat quarterback. He can throw a lot of the short routes pretty well that the coaches like to run, and he has that running threat about him. Rutherford, to me, looked better throwing the post routes, going a little deep over the middle, throwing the ball down the field. Rutherford looked like he was more in command of the passing aspect, but he's not a particularly mobile quarterback. He's not going to break down and break out for many long runs like Josh Lay will. I suspect we won't know until fall who's going to be the ultimate starter. Right now, you still got to give a little bit of a leg up to Lay because of his experience, and Rutherford's a freshman rising into a sophomore. Got some good experience with the JV team, but you got Josh Lay, who's been an assistant for a few years. He's going to be a junior. Coach Price likes the stability of starting a junior, but I'm not 100% certain that Lay's going to be able to make all the throws that Justin wants to be able to make.
And Lay, too, he proved at the end of last year he can be a defensive force. And if he's playing quarterback, he's not going to see a lot of time, if any, on the defense.
No, I mean, I would be surprised if he played a whole lot of defense, even if he wasn't the starter, because you're never very far from using it and having to go to your backup quarterback. But you want him to be healthy if he happen to be the backup. But we'll have to see about that. They may, if he's good, he's going to get on the field somewhere or another. They have to use their best 11 players, whether it's on offense, defense, whatever. Running back situation, it had a fumble or two, and otherwise it looked pretty good. Paul Cordell is going to be tough to replace, as we discussed, but they've got depth now at running back, more so than last. Last year was Paul Cordell's show pretty much. This year they've got Austin Raines back there. He's a bruising back. Got some speed with Roberts when he's healthy. Got several good options in the backfield. You can catch our interview on here with Daniel Berry.
It's online right now.
It'll be somewhere below this one. We're on the Volunteer Times sports page. Running back depth looks pretty good. The offensive line, Dan Turner's got to play pretty well. There were a couple of false starts. And we talked to him last night. He got that straightened up pretty quickly. His interview is also online. You can see about how he feels his unit's doing. And it'll be on the Volunteer Times as well. Just look under Dan Turner's interview there. The lines that I was really particularly impressed with the defensive line.
Oh, yeah.
I hope by tomorrow.
I mean, they really got after Pal. Even though Pal's only had a few weeks with this system coming in, they've had that's a few weeks of practice. I mean, Rodney's been the coach for a month or two now, and Rodney's a really good offensive coach, and Pal's got some explosive athletes still yet. And that defense, though, outside that, Pal hit a couple of big plays. They really shut Pal down pretty much. They were in the backfield a lot, especially the first team defense. Even the second team defense was some pretty good heat on Pal. Made some big plays, made some big stops. And granted, this is a situational scrimmage. There were probably some penalties happening both ways that didn't really get called.
So there were TWSWA officials calling the action.
Well, they actually called the penalties, but they didn't get enforced. I mean,
but you knew the penalties were going on.
You knew the penalty happened, but nothing was enforced. So it's hard to tell exactly how much ball movement's going on and everything. It wasn't quite that, a realistic for game situation. It was just a 10 play. But still, it was 10 plays. It was live action football, and the defense, like I said, really got after it. Cody Parker and Matt and Coach Sieber have done a really good job of getting those guys.
And Honeycutt also works with.
Yeah. Honeycutt does work with the linebackers. They've done a really good job of getting the defense, flying to the football. And the defense lost a lot with losing Trey Torres and Elkins and Preston Miller at defensive back, and Dakota Wilson, that linebacker. He was very effective, but it looks like they're not going to miss much of a beat. You got Big Mikey up on the front, and a couple other guys on the defensive line. They're just big and get after it.
They're bruisers. I mean, They tank right through that line.
I really enjoyed, what I saw out of it. I said, I'm not as informed as obviously Coach Price about what he wants to see out of the football team, his offense, and his quarterback. But just as a lay, casual observer of football, the ball appeared to move more effectively in Coach Price's offense with Rutherford at quarterback.
Right, and you still have the X factor of Shane Bowen. I mean, he does appear to be in third place right now, but Shane could easily come along with the summer and surprise us.
You never know what could happen. I said, right now it does look like, though, that he is back a little bit. And Shane was also a really good defensive back.
Right. Shane was also has potential to be a really good receiver.
He's a guy. He and Josh Lee both are guys that can play in a bunch of different positions. You're probably only going to be able to see Rutherford playing a quarterback because he has that natural quarterback look, natural quarterback speed, body, whatever, or a drop back passer, or take it out of the shotgun pass. But I was impressed with Rutherford's control on the ball on the post routes. 15 yards down the field, again, 12 yards, 10 yards, whatever. Lay his passing game, he appeared to, mostly they appeared to try to roll him out, work the edges, and sometimes he was successful. Sometimes he was off a little bit on his throws. That's just the nature. It's hard to throw on the run and be a very accurate quarterback. Lay just has a natural athletic ability that if the play breaks down, he's going to probably be able to get you close to a first down or get you a first down.
And we actually saw that a couple of times.
Rutherford probably lacks that aspect of it. If you need, you're going to run some posts, going to run some fly routes, whatever you're going to run down the field or over the middle. At least yesterday, Rutherford looked like the better quarterback for doing that. But he's a freshman. This is the end of his freshman year, start of his sophomore year, whatever you want to say. So we'll see where he progresses. We'll see if he matures enough. And Coach Price has told us that it's consistency that he's looking for. And right now, that none of the three quarterbacks have shown as much consistency as he would like. He said they'll have a really great day, each of them, and each of them they may have a bad day the next day. That's just the nature of spring practice, the nature of new starters, and the nature of replacing as much as they replaced from last year's team.
Also, Jacksboro Middle School is wrapping up spring practice. They had their blue and gold game ended in a tie. I wound up announcing it. There's an Emory Chapman kid. He could be a dangerous runner. He's got some wheels on him. Jasper's got some work to do this year. They're young, and of course when I saw them, they're definitely their best lineman, probably their best player on the team, 3-year starter, Jacob Shepard, with an injury. So that, him being on the defense is a game changer in middle school.
You'll see, it's like in middle school, you only really have 2 years to play. Not many 6th graders ever really play with the first team. So you're almost always feeling very close to a new team in middle school. I mean, Coach Peel, he lost a lot the year before last, and he ended up having a really good season again at Jacksboro last year. It looked like they had early season struggles a little bit, but they got rolling and did a pretty good job. We weren't any really, because of the Anderson Norris fiasco, there wasn't a playoff
on the high level.
So we just had the bowl game. But Jacksboro had a good season, and so they lose some people, but they bring some people back that are good, as Patrick pointed out. This is a McCauley kid.
And they've got a group of 6th graders that are coming up from the Little League. And Brent Lester's moved on from the Little League, where he was a lot of these kids' coach, on up to Jacksboro. And Brent's an old Eagle from back in the day, and he's bringing some good blood there.
How long has this Little League program been going? This current incarnation of it?
7 or 8 years.
So they start basically when they're in kindergarten, first grade. Because my cousin's son has been playing since he was in kindergarten. He's in the first grade now. It's unformed of it. So you're starting to see that first generation get to the middle school level.
And honestly, there's been some good talent come through there. And it's another one of the things you see. There was a lot of people that took their kids down to Lake City. But now that Campbell County has their own Little League field, their own dedicated Little League football field up at East LaFollette, well run. They handed it over to another group that'll run it well.
Yeah.
I mean, their kids were just out of it. It's really hard to stick with something like rec league youth sports if you don't have any kids.
Yeah, it's going to change hands basically every few years. A lot of them are. But actually, it's going to be confidently ran still. It gets me interaction with the local coaches at the middle school and high school level, I'm sure. And
I've heard nothing about LaFollette on spring practice so far. Not heard from them at all. So hopefully they've had a good one too.
Yeah, I like the coaches they have in place up there as well. A little bit of change on the staff. I believe JT said he is.
His son is done.
On the staff now, but
He spent many years there well before his son got there.
LaFollette showed some signs last year of being a better team and getting back on track.
I think Snyder will do a good job.
He's a good coach. LaFollette doesn't just, for whatever reason, it doesn't traditionally put out good football teams every year. I mean, they're like Campbell County basically before the process. You just couldn't. I mean, it was more successful than Campbell County before the process. But it's just whatever reason, LaFollette never quite clicks. There's not as much stability as there is in Jacksboro. I mean, so if they can get some stability here out of Snyder and for a few years, they produce good players. I mean, you've had. I mean, the big linemen that play for Campbell County. It started a lot for Campbell County. A lot of them came from LaFollette. Ethan Jeffers came from LaFollette. LaFollette has plenty of talent. It's just, for whatever reason, the coaches don't stay there long. You have some coaches. I mean, Honeycutt did a good job for a year or two there. Cody Parker did a very, very good job while he was there. There's a lot of turnover though in the staff. And a lot of those coaches that came through have Jacksboro ties and end up going back to Jacksboro
or going to the high school.
Or going to the high school in some capacity. And Snyder, he's not tied to either schools in the past, so maybe he'll want to stick around longer, and hopefully he gets a chance to get it going the way he wants it to be going. And I know he'll do a good job.
And shifting gears a little bit, we've got 3 people going to the state and track. Dakota Dawson is going to the decathlon, one of the hardest series of events you'll do.
Oh yeah, I mean 10 events in the decathlon. You have to be able to run, throw, jump,
pole
vault, everything. And Dakota is, he got a qualifying score about that a few weeks ago. So more power to him. He's a very good athlete. His probably best event is the high jump. He's very competitive in it.
Pretty good hurdler too.
Pretty good hurdler. Good in the long and triple jump. Pole vault's probably his weakest because he doesn't do it very much, and he admits that. But he's still good enough to make some qualifying times. He's a big, strong guy too, so I'm sure he can throw it pretty well. That's another. That's not his regular event at the track meets. He's more of a runner and a jumper.
And also we've got Lindsey King and Rachel Nelson going in hurdles.
Lindsey, they're both seniors. They've worked really hard for this. Lindsey was close a lot last year and the year before. I'm getting that qualifying time in the 300-meter hurdles, I believe.
And Rachel was a better long jumper really until this year. Or not long jumper, high jumper.
Rachel had qualified in the high jump before, I think. But they got speed. Part of what made Campbell County such an effective team were those two in some of the sprint 4x races. And Lindsay's a really good long jumper as well. She's just a really good athlete. So most of the track athletes are really good athletes. But they managed to get the state qualifying times. That'll probably be, I guess, around graduation lines, usually state and the track, isn't it?
The decathlon will be early next week, and the actual track and field championships will be late next week.
Yeah, I recall Shayla Goins a couple of years ago went to state, and Preston Chapman. They both had to rush back for graduation.
Preston Providence is going to miss his graduation because he's going to be thrown into state. I don't know exactly what day the Gap has theirs, but Preston carrying on that family tradition qualified to throw, and it's going to cause him to miss his graduation. But you got a chance to leave with a state title. I'd miss graduation too.
Yeah. I mean, you can sit in an auditorium and stuffy and listen to people talk about how something that
you don't care about.
You don't care about anymore because there's nothing you care that much more about as a high school senior is just getting it over with and getting on to college. I mean, years later you'll look back and remember it, but you'll look back and remember your state championship or your state opportunity for a championship probably much more fondly than your graduation would have been because it's just extremely rare. He would probably, I suspect, be the second state champion from Cumberland Gap. I think his brother is the only other one.
Right.
That had one.
Right. In any sport.
Yeah, in any sport, period. That's just a rare opportunity to get.
And of course, Cumberland Gap's not a very old school, but they don't even really have a track program.
Well, I mean, their track program are the problem.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You have one person competing in track and he's a state champion potentially. So that's pretty good. And I said your name's going to be in the trophy case. Your picture's going to be on the wall forever at the school because of that. So I would go before I would go to graduation.
Right.
It's still it's a good deal. And this is just about. I guess our next sports chat or two, whatever, we'll be able to tell you about the end of spring practice and tell you what pretty much happened for the state champions, hopefully. But once that's over with, we're looking at the long summer of.
It is. It's
a lot to talk about.
Very, very dry period for about 2.5 months.
Basically, till that second week in July when the football day period's over and summer practice starts, or fall practice starts up again. Otherwise, it's just talking about the NBA as bad as I hate that. And maybe some mini camp news and Deflategate will probably still be going on, which I'm pretty pleased with all the Deflategate and stuff. Rob Gronkowski, I'll probably be talking about him some because I love him. It's hard to beat Gronk.
Fans, if you're looking for something to do over this weekend, if you're going to be outside, you don't feel like cooking, swing by Papa John's, get you a pizza. If you decide the heat's a bit much for you, swing by Jason's, grab you some videos to go with your pizza.
Anytime it's rainy, hungry, just go to Papa John's. I'll tell you, get that 6 cheese special at Papa John's. Shrink it up a little bit and have them add a couple of meats to it. It's the best pizza you'll get.
And grab the brownie, it's pretty nice.
And I say plenty of videos here at Jason's to rent.
And a wide variety. We've got everything from horror to family. I'm looking at some wrestling on the wall over there. I'm looking at Gilligan's Island, a fabulous TV show. He's got anything you could want.
Video games. If he doesn't have it in here, tell him about it. He can order it for you. But that's plenty of stuff to do when the spring, all the sports are done, and you can sit in the pool and play your video games this summer. That you get down here.
Fans, we're going to call it a day for Sports Chat. We'll see you next week with reports from the Blue and Orange game.